So, coming back to your question, RX codes are an invitation to innovation leaders to reprogram their minds before they do anything. If you think you have to innovate to compete, if you innovate out of lack and scarcity and then you think you are in danger, that's okay, but this is where you are and this is what you're going to amplify. So starting with the meta code, the consciousness, we invite innovation leaders in corporations, in governments, in startups, in scale-ups to be aware of what they are assuming, what are their assumptions, what are their values, and how they can come to a place of a higher consciousness, of a way to think more regeneratively and we created those principles, and every week we are activating one code from meta-consciousness code to intelligence, governance, circulation, health, design, energy. There are 9 codes and 1 meta-consciousness code. With those codes, we invite innovation leaders to reprogram their minds, but very practically approach to their problems in hand with regenerative principles.
Canay Atalay is my guest on this episode of Inside Ideas, brought to you by the Aloha's Regenerative Foundation, 1.5 Media, and Innovators Magazine. Canay is a regenerative innovation architect, a visionary strategist, conscious business model designer, reshaping the future of innovation through regeneration. She integrates AI, leadership, and cultural transformation with nature-inspired systems to help organizations build thriving, future-fit ecosystems, focusing on health and well-being as the core mission. As the founder of RegenerateX and The Heroines, and former leader of the world's leading design thinking consultancy Fjord, which is now Accenture Song, designed an innovation umbrella of Accenture's Interactive in Türkiye and the Middle East, Canay has been named one of Turkey's top 10 women changing education. She is also a creator of the RX Codes, a framework of 9 regenerative principles that redefine how we lead, govern, and grow. She hosts the Regenerative Innovation with Canay series with Harvard Business Review and curates HeartMasters Ibiza, a global gathering of innovation leaders. Her work resonates across Fortune 500 companies, emerging ventures, and purpose-driven networks worldwide. Canay, I welcome you to the show, and I'm so excited that we're going to see each other very soon at HeartMasters. You've invited me to be there.
I'm so looking forward to it. It's a great pleasure to be here, Mark. It's great to hear my story through your mouth. And yeah, we are on a mission, and I'm happy to be doing this together.
I am too. It's a great place. It's a great purpose. And I want you to kind of explain why HeartMasters, why that chose you, you chose it, and why Ibiza. So you're obviously from Turkey. So what brought you all the way to Ibiza?
Great question. I wouldn't have planned to live in Ibiza with my 2 daughters if you asked me 10 years ago. In my heart, in my mind, innovation has always been my mission, focusing on health and well-being. It was 8 years ago, I was on the stage in a festival called Eindhoven in Belgium, presenting children's designs about future of cities and co-living, co-working philosophies. And as I was doing the presentation, I think there were like 500 people in the audience, and it was the opening speech before the European Union president. I have spoken the words. If we are raising our children in cities, they tend to see the world more dangerous compared to children who are being raised in nature. And something happened to me in that very moment. As a mother of two, there I was explaining what we should do and how we should create cities for the children, where as a mother, I was raising my daughters in Istanbul. I love Istanbul. I love my country, Anatolia, Mesopotamia. It's very rich in culture. But when you look at the mega city, Istanbul, the pollution, the traffic, and the way that we were spending time in the traffic with my daughters wasn't something I would call what I envision for the health and well-being of the children. So there and then, after the speech, I decided that I shall take action. This is what I do. What I believe, I start experimenting myself. 1 year later, I was invited to Ibiza by friends for a ceremony. As we sat around the circle, there were people from 85 different countries, 85 different countries in one circle. And everybody was singing their songs from different religions and non-religions in the middle of nature. And there were people from all generations, at least 4 generations were represented. Also, there were indigenous people from the Amazons. I felt that great love in my heart. I said, this is what I dreamt all my life. And it's not just a dream, it's happening. That's how I decided to move to Ibiza with my daughters. People said it's not that easy, but 6 months after, I was here. After the pandemic, I brought also my daughters here, and they are going to school here. Ibiza is an island which hosts so many different cultures, religions, non-religions. They call it the island of black sheeps. People who have a tendency to innovate beyond the thinking models of their existing societal structures. Here, I feel I belong, and raising my daughters here is a great advantage for me. While we are still keeping the roots in Türkiye with my family, friends, my clients, and obviously my heart, I love to have Ibiza as my second house. The last 7 years living, growing my daughters and myself here, I have encountered so many transformational invitations, methodologies, people, communities, and lifestyle architectures. I couldn't help but start inviting my community of leaders here once a year to an event called HeartMasters. We started as an experimentation to see how bringing the tools for innovating self in our health and well-being, not just physical, but also opening the mind, keeping the heart open. And when I say the heart, I'm not talking about just emotions. When I say the heart, I'm talking about the intelligence that connects us beyond our human thinking models to nature, to each other, that level of peace, the synthesis of polarized, beyond polarized thinking, that resonance, that heart intelligence. We combined it with innovation tools in business and leadership. And this year, I'm so excited. It's going to be the best HeartMasters ever. And with you, and with many amazing thought leaders, innovators in their domains from different disciplines and different countries, we are coming together as 50 people who are going to not only experiment their own individual transformation, because heart and love demands transformation, and it's the time that we innovate beyond the limitations of our thinking. We are going to also start piloting how we can innovate innovation itself. And that's what's so exciting for me.
That's wonderful. And it's May 25th until
1st of May.
1st of May. And
This is the
tell us
first
a
part.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then tell us about the second part, if you would, as well.
Yeah,
There's,
with pleasure. With
yeah.
pleasure. The first part, HeartMasters, is about really going in and deep and together beyond, how we can face our masks, our conditionings, our ways of limiting the way we are thinking about who we are and what we are doing here, and exploring ways of how we can show up as community members, as leaders. And it's a somatic experience as well. We detox our bodies. We will be applying Ayurvedic diets. We will discover through nature immersion activities, how we can really find that inner peace that is beyond good or bad, but seeing the totality of everything and alchemizing our stories, as well as really connecting with the local cultures here and the regenerative practices and with conscious business leaders here. So the activation is very place-based, it's very culturally oriented, but everybody who's coming from their different country and culture and different industry will also gonna bring their gifts. And our processes are very transformational. It's very based on co-creation. So this first part, HeartMasters, is mastering our minds and our bodies so that we can allow and surrender to the mastery of a bigger mind, which is the nature's intelligence. That's what we call HeartMasters. It's a full sentence. The second part, this year, for the first time, we are inviting regenerative AI experts, regenerative economists like yourself, futurists, where we come together with the local government, the local businesses, so we can co-create and pilot how a regenerative innovation project and collective can serve to the needs of Ibiza. This process is not output oriented. It's very process oriented. We are launching Regenerative Innovation Institute in September 2025 as a process of allowing corporations mainly to practice regenerative innovation as cultures, as processes, as activations and collaborations, starting in Europe and Türkiye, but then globally available as an online learning, unlearning, and execution platform. The pilot of the Regenerative Innovation Institute will be done as a lab in Ibiza, because after HeartMasters, we become so open, so creative, and so co-creative. It is a great opportunity for us to really go through that process in a shortened time and activate something in Ibiza. And our intention is to focus on the needs of Ibiza. So we are not just an event, but we are stewards and we are long-term partners on a mission. While I'm gathering so many amazing people like yourself, it wouldn't be regenerative if we didn't really touch the soil, the soul, and the needs of Ibiza. And obviously, I want to be very humble here. We don't know what we don't know. So the listening part from with the local authorities and farmers and business leaders, the communities will be a huge part of it. So it's not about production force. It is about the process and the transformation and becoming a collective who are on a mission in action.
I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. So the tourism office is probably going to be knocking on your door pretty soon because you've just become the greatest ambassador for Ibiza, really promoting them and the lifestyle and the beauty of Ibiza. So I was there last year at an event, the Holo Movement, the Wave, and it was just wonderful and it was beautiful. It's all the things you said. I also went to a beautiful regenerative farm there that was run by a Swedish man who moved to Ibiza, and Lucian Tarnowski of the United Planet, that he does the Up Game with his wife Tatiana, and just wonderful, amazing people there. Many people I know, Rachel Morrison and others who live on Ibiza and been there numerous times for events. And it's a really unique place and beautiful, sets the right tone and atmosphere. Know that not everybody is like, okay, everybody in the world is now popularizing and coming down on Ibiza and coming together. 81 countries all of a sudden are represented in Ibiza. For those people on listening to the podcast and saying, okay, now, so I got to move to Ibiza, I got to move out of the town. How are they going to take the things you're showing them, take them back to their home, back to their lives, and apply them so that they can have the tools now given by you to really transcend and apply that in their power of place? You're not saying, well, I'll have to move to Ibiza, do you?
I don't say have to in any story. That's not my place to know what is good for anyone. It's my responsibility to know for myself. and provide opportunities for others to figure that out for themselves, including for my daughters. Beautiful question. Thank you, Mark. Over the last 5 Heartmasters, we have discovered people got really excited, amazing things happened. Some of the things that we have witnessed after Heartmasters was great collaborations and co-creations. But most of the time, I have observed a declining motivation. And sometimes when people go back to their countries, to their businesses, life happens and they lose that joy, that they lose that courage. And year after, you see results are declining. And this is the time that we don't have the luxury to waste time. And this year, that's why we are designing the event in 3 sections. First, there is a preparation. In the preparation, we talk to everyone individually and also in group settings to discover their Ayurvedic type, their human design, their business and personal and relationship needs. What are they going through? We are designing and curating the event, even the way that we are going to serve the information and invite them to participate according to these needs, from menus to how we are going to communicate, how facilitators are going to facilitate their workshops. And I believe the biggest difference this year is that we have a 30 days of integration, 7 days every day and 3 weeks once a week, so that we can follow each other, and not just that, learn how to be accountability partners for each other. You will witness me, I will witness you, as much as the participants. We are all in this together. And after those 30 days, starting from September 2025, with the launch of Regenerative Innovation Institute, for 12 months, our program continues as a core curriculum for those leaders, not just to activate and keep on watering those seeds, but also share what are some of the challenges so we can all learn together. And maybe some of them are going to bring amazing tools and techniques how to break through those challenges. So it's a learning community in action. And our mission is to activate each participant and expert as regenerative innovation ambassadors and facilitators in their organization, in their community. And we will also provide opportunities for that for our international projects. This is the field. Our job is not to tell what to do to each person. These are already leaders. Even with my daughters, I don't tell them what to do, but we will create opportunities and fields of coherence, collaboration, so that when you feel like you don't have the courage to take the next step because everything seems like they're opposing you, there will be reminders, there will be guidance, and there will be a community that you have gone through already a lot of unmasking and a lot of processes. So to me, the magic of Heartmasters is not in the ideas. The magic of Heartmasters is not about the latest data. The real data to activate the intelligence is in the moment, in those connections. And for us, having that honest, authentic relationship with yourself, with each other, connected to the land, but in an international space is super important. So we innovate Heartmasters every year, and it's not Janai. I am a part of it, but it is us. And that, I believe, is the greatest invitation that we can ripple and grow wherever we go. The other communities and platforms and names you have mentioned are all Heartmasters collaborators, and we are collaborators to them. We are going to do RegenerateX Ibiza this year on the 30th of May, which is a day that also a lot of people from outside can participate. And it's going to be in Juntos. You mentioned about that great regenerative farm. And we are now also working with our event partners, VRM Biotech, how we can regenerate the soil of Ibiza, starting in Juntos. And they are great allies in that sense. And one thing I would like to also mention, art, culture, and music is also very important for the regenerative innovation. Transforming the way we think is not going to happen just by talking. So we are doing a collaboration with a local but international festival called Ray of Light Awards. And 1st of May, again as a solo day, but continuation of Heartmasters, will be the final award ceremony with screenings in 6 categories about the future messages in important highlight points for regeneration. And there will be a lot of immersions from Hollywood to European independent players. And it is in the honor of a great friend, Ray Stevenson, who has passed 2 years ago and who was a Hollywood actor. And he wanted us to honor water and the future generations with this award ceremony. It was his idea before he passed, and his wife, who is an anthropologist, Elisabetta, and we are collaborating, hosting Ray of Light Awards on the 31st. So it is full of
Beautiful.
surprises. I don't want to spoil everything, but the intention is to be innovative ourselves. It's going to be fun and real work.
I love it. That sounds so wonderful. And what I really wanted to do, which you did so eloquently, is to not only highlight the fact that, yes, Ibiza is a beautiful place. There's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people from different countries there. There's a lot of the right atmosphere and environment and things to see, things that we don't get to see in every place. And I think that event locations, no matter the many events I do around the world, the location and the environment, that setting that you've gone in and curated years and months in advance to make sure the program, the schedule, the place is prepared for people to come in, not only see and experience, but be able to be in the place to make a transformation, to have that, not just receive motivation and talk, but to actually embody the experience that they have, to feel that change and understanding of where the journey of their life is going, and especially that applicable to what they're working on in their life, their business, their organization, their family, their structure, that they're looking for that. And so Ibiza is the perfect place. But in that same breath, I wanted to make sure that they knew that these aren't just things that can only happen in Ibiza, but they're tools that are long lasting, that will be supported by you and a community and be able to be taken anywhere in the world to regenerate themselves in that place where they're at currently, to make it into the world that they would like to have, the world that they would like to see evolve and then be present in. And the biggest thing with all the travels and all the events that I see for myself is people ask me the question a lot: where's your favorite place? What's the best place on earth? Where's the most sustainable place, right? Well, the most sustainable place in my home is within me, wherever I go. So wherever I go that's where. But there's a lot of people who don't take that with them. They feel like, oh, at home it's 4 a.m. in the morning, or at home it's midnight. And it's like they're separated from their home and their body, and they don't know what to do sometimes when they travel. They have the jet lag, they have the sleeping and eating disorders, or whatever there is. And what I hear more, besides a wonderful event, a wonderful place, is that you're going to give the tool and the motivation a little bit, but also mainly the tools and the connections to themselves and the RX codes and the regenerative innovations for themselves, and to touch with that community to then take back and improve their lives. It's not some motivational event and then you get back and then it fades away in the distance. It's something that is always with you and empowers you to make that evolutionary quantum leap. And I know for the stuff I'm bringing you, for sure is going to be that as well. And I'm excited about these RX codes, and I kind of want to know how you came up with it, where the RX codes come from. Does it have to do with regenerative, exponential? Can you explain those a little bit more for me?
Yeah, with pleasure. Mark, thank you so much for really highlighting what is home and that longer term processes for transformation. To me, it's so important. What I have noticed is when we start seeing places as static places, we are falling into this mechanical thinking. You know, I carry this key as a reminder to myself. This key is the symbol that every door is opened from within. which is the heart intelligence. And everybody holds a key that opens all the doors. Everywhere is home, but you have the eyes, new eyes to see yourself. You are carrying the key. We are the creators of reality. A home one day can look very toxic and really boring to you. And the next day, you can activate yourself in a way that you open your consciousness and you can totally transform that place into heaven, whether it's your home, whether it's your city. So I believe the biggest problem of people is that we forget how powerful we are. But if you are a leader, if you call yourself a leader, do not complain, and be present. Talking about past data, explaining about why things are wrong, and projecting that into the future, excusing yourself why you cannot act because the future is coming different. This is so opposite to leadership. A leader is the person who can activate any place as if it's a home. And this is home. You do it so beautifully. You ask, where is home? You did it in our event last week. Where is home? Home is the earth. Home is where you are. Home is me. So for that, I would like to invite the people, whether you are joining to HeartMasters or any other event, what am I going to take from here, not back, forward and beyond? Because this is, you are gifted with an experience and now we are responsible to take it forward. And that's the joy of being a leader, carrying that gift forward. The RX codes are similar. My story with innovation, I have always been in innovation in one way or another. But if you look at my life, I have been innovating wherever I was. I don't know how else to be. I'm a very curious person and I deeply care about people and the planet, and health and well-being are my core principles. My mom is a doctor, Doctors Without Borders. My father is a pharmacist, and I was the youngest product manager in pharmaceutical industry in Türkiye. The way that we understand health and well-being is opposite to Western medicine. My mom prescribes people to drink water like you are beautifully doing, take walks in nature, and stop smoking or drinking before she prescribes anything else. She doesn't prescribe anything unless people are serious about their health and well-being. So she's like that. My father, who is a pharmacist, has raised me saying, Canay, food is medicine, exercise is medicine, good relationships are medicine. Do not take any pills, any antibiotics, unless you are dying. And guess what? For the last 11 years, I don't get sick because I have a very good relationship with health and well-being. And that is in my DNA. I'm lucky like that. So wherever I went, to whatever industry, from technology to design thinking to regional development projects, my core has always been health and well-being, health and well-being. I have been running world's biggest design thinking consultancy. Very lucky, so grateful to the experience. And we said we are designing for love. And we said this is human-centric design. We made it popular. So now everybody is using it, right? The most successful companies, governments, startups, scale-ups. And what I noticed when I gave birth to my first and second daughters in a row, we didn't understand what it means to be a human and what human centricity is. In order for you to understand what is human, you have to step out of being human and look at yourself from a wider, a better intelligence. And that is nature. That is a bigger mind. If you look at human and then try to make everything faster, easier, you end up having obesity, you end up having 8.25 second attention deficit, duration, like less than a goldfish for the entire human species, and a lot of addiction, numbing, more pandemics, climate change. We ended up not being human centric. We ended up hurting people and the planet. I'm not saying we did it on purpose, but I was the business model designer who was briefing world's best design strategists, neuroscientists, technologists. I want the users to come to this app as much as possible, as frequently as possible, stay as long as possible. And if they don't come and use the app, let's create fear of missing out. That was my brief because I wanted my clients to make money out of advertising revenues. I was on the other side of the table. Was I evil? No. I love people. I love health and well-being. We called it unintended consequences. And I noticed unintended consequences was not just an ignorance. It was also a process of numbing ourselves, thinking in business, only revenues growth, scaling is important. What if it wasn't the scaling that was important, but evolution? For me, health and well-being is the condition to be able to evolve better because life has beautiful guidance systems and principles. And when I noticed that with the birth of my daughters, I'm like, I don't want my daughters to use these social media apps that we are designing. And then I'm like, if I don't want my daughters to use these apps, what am I doing here? What about the other children? And we are all children. And I'm a bold woman. So I first try to change things from within. And if it doesn't work quick enough, I step out and do my own thing. And that was the story. Learned a lot of things, but I noticed I don't want to be a part of this loop of making big companies richer at the cost of people's health and well-being and the planetary cost. So I have done academic work. I have joined and started my own AI learning startups. I failed magnificently with some of my attempts. I ended up working with a philosopher in Spain for 3 years in an academy called Socratic Design Academy, where I started learning about what are my values, what is an intrinsic goal, what is an instrumental goal. I thought winning was what is going to give me the joy and happy life. But winning was only an instrument I thought was necessary to be happy. A happy life didn't include winning at all costs was my transformation throughout these 3 years, unconditioning myself from a very, very deep survival mechanism. It sounds maybe to you, Daj and I, it's obvious. But when you are wired to be successful, to be the woman who can go through anything and everything, it's not that easy. You have to die to a version of yourself to be reborn. And with this rebirth, and I can tell you more about it, but Socratic dialogues, the art of listening, meditations in nature, and a lot of experimentations, I have noticed a happy life, a meaningful life for me was no longer through winning at all costs. Fast forward, especially with moving to Ibiza, I have noticed the human centricity can only come through life centricity, and it's much more beautiful. It includes not just human children, but all species included. And that is such a joyous, but I believe it's the safest bet and the fastest way to win and to be happy and to create a world to continue serving to a world which works for everyone, because this earth is working for all of us, actually, if we can see that and if we can participate in it harmoniously. And being a part of this innovation journeys, like my entire life is about innovating innovation in different ecosystems. For me, I couldn't help but notice maybe it is me who can bring some service to this domain, knowing all these beautiful regenerative, from agriculture to medicine, regenerative AI. I have worked in all those domains. I have consulted to regenerative AI processes in 2023, and I have noticed we have been fundamentally broken about how we define and approach the innovation. So coming back to your question, RX codes are an invitation to innovation leaders to reprogram their minds before they do anything. If you think you have to innovate to compete, if you innovate out of lack and scarcity and then you think you are in danger, that's okay. But this is where you are and this is what you're going to amplify. So starting with the meta code, the consciousness, we invite innovation leaders in corporations, in governments, in startups, in scale-ups to be aware of what they are assuming, what are their assumptions, what are their values, and how they can come to a place of a higher consciousness, of a way to think more regeneratively, and we created those principles, and every week we are activating one code from meta consciousness code to intelligence, governance, circulation, health, design, energy. There are 9 codes and one meta consciousness code. With those codes, we invite innovation leaders to reprogram their minds, but very practically approach to their problems in hand with regenerative principles. I'm a conscious business model designer. I have been doing a lot of work on myself, and I am in service with a lot of tools and techniques. But as a collective, we are unstoppable. We have everyone and everything that we need. All we need is to take a pause and see from which consciousness we are innovating and what stops us from within. There is no world outside of us. There is no problem unless we make it a problem. Everything is an opportunity for us to crack a shell so that we can evolve better. And I believe innovation leaders who like to fail, experiment, learn better, and serve are the perfect audience and participants to make regeneration the norm. And beyond design thinking, life-centric design, an embodied conscious movement. And with one generation, we can transform so many things just to thinking about AI and experimenting with it, just to activate it in Ibiza, in Türkiye, in wherever you are in your company, is gonna create huge ripples. And I feel so certain about it, not because I know what's gonna happen, but I know this is the life's way and there is no better bet for me.
That's so amazing. And I'm glad that you went into such detail in your journey as well. I want to add to that it's so true. In a world that is growing in an exponential manner, if you only improve incrementally, you're falling behind exponentially. And so we have to use that form of innovation in everything we do in life. I can tell you right now that never before in human history have we transformed from one age or epoch to another, have we transformed ourselves without innovation. Just think about it. The pneumatic tire, the steam engine, the printing press, the microprocessor, the chips, the computers. Now we're at the cusp, a super cycle of technology, biotechnology, AI, quantum computing, wearables. These are all at this super cycle for a transformation that the world has never seen before. And we're really asking the wrong questions. We're saying, oh, we're worried about AI becoming sentient and getting this supremacy or a problem over us. We're worried about quantum supremacy, or that something's going to happen with quantum computing. I want you to know that regeneration is 3.8 billion years old. And that's probably our fallible math as well. It might even be older than that. It's the process of how life on Earth started, and that evolutionary regenerative process, that symbiotic process of regeneration, has been around for a long, long time, but never has it made a transformation with some kind of evolutionary leap or innovation in that respect. And so to tie that back to nature and to what you're talking about, innovation, and so how we can evolve as human beings to really transcend and get to those higher levels of being, I think is so justly. And I'm glad you explained about the RX codes and how that ties to innovation. I think it's hilarious how some people around the world, when they think or talk about innovation, they use words like KPIs. They use words and actions that are incremental. There is no innovative process that gets us into the future or transforms humanity without that quantum leap of innovation, without that regenerative process of innovation. It's never happened before on our earth. And so it's a vital part, and it doesn't happen with incremental growth. So the transformations and the innovations we're talking about are definitely not the new social media app or the new dating app or the new delivery app. It's about transformational impact innovations that solve human suffering and our global grand challenges that help us as humanity transcend and evolve into a different way of being, a different way of living. And not only are we talking a lot about the inner into HeartMasters and the RX codes and Regenerative Innovation Institute and all the beautiful things that you want to do and the community and people that you want to take on this journey. But we're talking about the outer development. So as we design and evolve our lived experience, how we live, where we live, who we work with, what things do we include in our organizational structure, our business structure, our life structure, our family structure? Those are all things that keep that process of evolution, innovation, and regeneration moving forward. And so I really absolutely just have to tap you on the back and give you a big hug, because we're right aligned on that mission where we want to go. And so I'm so excited to be coming and be part of this. And I hope that those who are listening understand how important this is for them, and they can see this is not just another touchy-feely woo-woo event. This is one where I can transform and come out and emerge out of that chrysalis and spread my wings and really transcend to new levels with the tools that you're going to be getting here.
Mm.
On the different RX codes that you happen to have Zach Bush on. You had me on as well.
This week we have Charles Eisenstein coming.
Charles Eisenstein,
Yeah.
amazing. So just one after the other, these amazing speakers, and that I've been on the stages and talked to them as well. And that you've placed them all in an RX code. When I was listening, because I've been accompanying the calls as well, when I was listening to the one with Zach Bush, not only did he give of his valuable time, but he just one after the other, hard hitting. It was like drinking from the fire hose of his knowledge and information and connection to the world and nature and the unbelievable innovation that we all have in our own body, that we're quantum mechanical beings, that we're connected to nature, how the processes of the body and life and how vital the health is that we apply to this connection, innate connection to our stewardship over nature and life. And that leads to not only healthy nutritional success for our bodies, but it creates a healthier and better life and world around us, as well as a nourishing world of our organizations as well. I don't think you find too many unhealthy, successful leaders and companies and organizations who aren't making it through all of these turmoils in our world without having a lot of those principles. And more people are moving in that direction of that life stewardship and nutrition, well-being and health and that connection. So I've really enjoyed those as well. And I suggest that you've posted some of those recordings, that people go out and prepare. They look at all the information, the great leaders that have talked there, to find the resources to make their decision as they decide to come to HeartMasters in Ibiza and actually make that move to come. But I want to find out even a little bit deeper. You've given quite a lot of information of how you've gotten there. Was most of the work where you started to move into regeneration? Did that happen? And if I understand it correct, it was this some form of a Socrates Institute or Academy, something like that. What did you call it again?
Yeah, Socratic Design Academy. I worked with a philosopher for 3 years who is also a physics professor. So we were talking about the matter, but also the mind and how world is a design. So when you mentioned, for example, about human suffering is a human-made concept. And with all the respect to all the pain and all the traumas that are going on in the world, human suffering is our incapacity to see both sides of the story. Nothing innately is bad or good. You know, Rumi has this beautiful saying, there is a place beyond right doing and wrong doing, and I will meet you there. And he's the master of the heart with this divine love, and his poetry is truly an intelligence inviting us to think beyond our limited human mind. But in this academy, through the art of listening, a methodology called Socratic dialogue, which I do included in RX codes in the learning code, as well as it's going to be a practice that we are going to teach and facilitate in the HeartMasters. You, before you start speaking your mind, you repeat what the other person says. And guess what? By allowing yourself to listen to another person's ideas, words, you welcome their world into your body. We are not just thinking in the mind, we are thinking with our entire body and system. And we exist in our relationships. So in that mode of listening, relationships bond, and you create a coherence that creates the resilience in the team, in the family, in the society. By just listening someone, you can heal that person, but you can also create an opportunity for yourself to become new. People who regularly do Socratic dialogues, we stay young. We become more creative, and you start becoming more confident in life and its opportunities, and you start seeing more things, hearing more things, and coming up with total different ideas. So it's a practice. I really changed my life. And in a little story I would like to tell you about it, I think it's also a good example of regenerative innovation. My biggest challenge in life, the reason I went to Socratic Design Academy, it's going to be a little bit personal, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Is because I was getting a divorce from the father of my children, and I found myself in a place of hate. And I don't hate anything or anyone. I'm a lover, you know, I love people, I love life, I love opportunities. I see everything as innovation. But the father of my children, I really hated him at a point in my life. We were fighting for the custody of our children in the court in Türkiye. And when I felt that hate, it kind of killed my soul. I was looking at the mirror and I couldn't recognize myself. The light in my eyes was gone. And I went to my mother, who is an amazing woman, lover of life, like in service, like she is unstoppable. And I said, Mom, save me. I feel hate in my heart. It's poisoning me. It affects everything else. I'm not excited. I don't feel alive. And she didn't give so much of an idea. She was agreeing with me due to the, the judgment and the mental processes. And I noticed I need help. And that's when I came across Socratic Design Academy. And I'm like, I can rewrite my life narrative and I can use it in my life and business. That's great. Let me go. And when I went there, I learned about so many things, but Socratic dialogue, the art of listening, was one of the main tools. I came back to Istanbul and I invited my ex-husband, father of my children, to a Socratic dialogue experience. He didn't believe me for 6 months, but through that experience, I already made peace within myself, regardless of his actions. And when he saw my change, he participated in a Socratic dialogue with me where the philosopher facilitated. And when I repeated what he said before participating with my thoughts, I noticed word by word, we wanted the same things for the future of our children's education. We were the same. We wanted the same thing. So why were we fighting? There was no point. And at that point, a resolution came, not just in us, but also probably entire family constellation and the field became peaceful. Fast forward, we started including our children in the Socratic design process, what it would be like to be a family after the divorce. What are our rituals? How are we going to organize their rooms in 2 separate houses? And we participated in a design of a life, of a future together with my little daughters. Back then they were little, now they are teenagers. And that piece started rippling. We even forgot about the court. One day comes the court order for us to go to the next one. And we looked at each other with the father of my children, Yunus. And we are like, what are we going to do? We are peaceful. We don't want to continue the court. And we invited our attorneys to a meeting together and told them, we don't want to fight. It's over. We are happy. We are just going to co-parent. And our attorneys said, it's not possible. One of you need to get to win because otherwise, it's according to Turkish family law, the court will never be over. And we said to them, either you are going to fix it or we are going to go to the judge ourselves and tell this is what happened. We changed our mind. By the way, we were the mega case in Türkiye. We were in news, we were on newspapers because I'm like so determined to win. He was a media persona. So we were on the news with our case. So nobody really believes us that we made peace. It was such a drama and trauma. And our attorneys found a point and we went to the judge. Fast forward, we became the first couple who got common custody because we stated that this type of family peace is so important for everyone, also for the family system in Turkey, and it would also decrease the costs of the judge processes. So today, just because I followed my own peace, my own values, and followed the whisper of my heart, who was dying, now today, more than 4 million families in Turkey are using our case as a benchmark to get common custody. We changed the application of law. So if this is not about regenerative innovation case, I don't know what is. So you never know what your little actions for your little life can go. We all take a very important part in this wholeness of entire creation. There is no entire creation without us participating in it. Even if you believe you're a speck of dust, you change everything. So this is my motivation, inviting everyone to follow their really values, what is important to them, and never ever let anyone, any system, any law to tell them what their heart is wishing for is not important.
It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's not only personal, but it's also public and it's also had very far reaching results. And that's what I love about regeneration and about the principles of regeneration and regenerative practices, that a lot of the times when I speak, or maybe even you do, there's people who say, oh, well, they're going to talk about regenerative agriculture. They're going to talk about regenerative medicine and regenerating the cells and nerves and body parts and that. A lot of people are still new with this whole concept of regeneration. But I would like to ask you, what is your definition? What's your personal definition of regeneration, of regenerative practices? What would you define it as, or how is it for you?
I mean, our generic definition, like all of us would say, creating conditions for life or more life to flourish. My personal definition is to having that inner peace, which allows utter war and peace to happen. When you see both sides to a story, regeneration also requires degeneration, where an outer peace also comes out of war. But when you are peaceful in yourself with both sides of the story, to me, that is regeneration. Dying and coming alive through experiences over and over again, every day in your business, in your life, in your relationship, to see that there is a bigger mind and harmony. When you are burned through through conflicts, you just keep on expanding and coming more alive. So even in regenerative world, sometimes we have a tendency to say, these companies, these people, you cannot regenerate by dividing us. We need diversity and collaboration. And that starts by including all the voices. Despite how much you react in you, still feel your anger, feel your rage, feel your hate, but turn it into compost for more life to flourish. There is no other. There is nothing outside of us. We are the home of regeneration. And it requires courage. It requires burning. That's why the invitation, let's make it a little bit more fun. Let's make it more beautiful. Let's come together in communities, in these type of conversations where we can allow our hearts to sing. Even the songs that our hearts are singing doesn't have its counterpart in the term sheets yet. We will regenerate those term sheets. We will regenerate KPIs, and we will come up with a dignified, honorable humanity, like you said, who are in the business of life.
Yes, I say that quite a bit. We're not in the business of business. We are in the business of life. There is only life, and it's an evolutionary process that we all take. And there is degeneration, and there is death, and there's the burning in that process that you go through that we definitely need to honor to realize what we go through and how magnificent and innovative we are as human beings, quantum mechanical human beings.
Mm-hmm.
The last hardest question I have for you today is really the burning question. What does a world that works for everyone look like for you?
The world, this world, for me, is already working for everyone. And the more we can adapt and look and see through the eyes of seeing that gift, that feeling, that gratitude, the more this world is going to be identified, and it's going to be mass knowledge that it is working for everyone. There is no mistake in creation. There is no lack. There is a great design, and this world is working for all of us, whether we see it or not. I am so humbled. I'm 44 years old. What life is teaching me. Each time I humbled myself and opened myself as a learner, as a student to life, she taught me her ways, and I can only follow this beautiful guidance. To me, this is the world that works for everyone. This is it.
Yeah, I love it. That's a beautiful answer, and thank you very much. You know, that I've asked 3,800 people plus people that on video before, and it's a important question that we all need to ask and understand and come to relationship for it, because it's powerful for us as human beings to really place ourselves in the big picture with life and our evolution and our time here on earth.
Mark, you know
Yes.
what I love about you and your invitations? You know, sitting in Ibiza and going through what I have gone through in life, thanks God, with all the challenges and opportunities and the privileges. It's easy to talk the way I'm talking. But what you're doing, and what is also my mission, is to bridge different worlds, different thinking modalities, different value systems. So that question, that key question, what does a world look like that works for everyone, starting with yourself? What is happiness to you? What is success to you? I believe the regenerative innovation invitation is to identify what is valuable for you and see how sustaining or serving life is actually in service to whatever you value. Because in the end, life is the fuel, life is the intrinsic and the instrumental goal to everything. Whether you value money for your safety, okay, to sustain life is also good for your company, good for your leadership, good for your legacy, to make more money. Some people like fast innovation. In order to really speed up, you have to go to the right direction so that you don't lose time. So bet on life. So that's why I love your invitation, because not everybody thinks the same. And thanks God, that is our diversity. But the collaboration happens when we ask ourselves, and like your invitation, what is important? How does it look like for you? And how we can regenerate from there. So there is no right or wrong answer to it, but an awareness, a reflection. The answer is always in your evolution, in your and your company's evolution. So thank you. And also your approach to abundance. I truly appreciate, because Sometimes a lot of people think, oh, we need to reduce, we need to stop. But what you are inviting us, and which I totally agree, is that more freedom, more abundance, but you don't need to eat more and consume more. Even we are going to do fasting, online fasting before HeartMasters. So you understand, you don't depend on some excessive consumption, but by activating your inner energies, inner different operating system, there is so much abundance in energy, in nourishment. So I really love to go back a couple of steps and restructure the way we are thinking about everything, every concept that we relate. So to me, that is real regeneration. Thank you for your work, this beautiful invitation. I immensely enjoy working with you and looking forward to having you in Ibiza.
I'm so excited to see you, and it'll be great. We're going to have a wonderful time, and everybody who comes are going to get a very special time with me. We're going to do the workshop. We're going to have a deep dive experience that they can take with them and keep with themselves that'll help them to make that quantum leap, on that evolutionary quantum leap into the future, into this very regenerative, bright, living, evolving future. So I'm excited to be with you. I'm excited to feel all the other great people's energy and to hear the rest of the speakers. Congratulations, Charles Eisenstein is next up on your RX Code Days speakers.
In the value
Wonderful
code,
person
he
in the
changed my
value
life
code.
so many years ago with the gift economy, then sacred economies. When I invited him through a friend, he said, yes, of course, because I shared also my story, how he touched my life. Such important, courageous people. And I think the tide is turning. There are more and more people normalizing these conversations. It's all coming together, and I'm so excited and so grateful being alive and being able to serve and having the opportunity to meet so many amazing people like yourself, like Charles, like Zach, and so many amazing people. It's a great privilege, and I hope I will continue doing my best.
Thank you for sharing your ideas with us and letting us inside of your ideas on this episode of Inside Ideas with Marc Buckley. And I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there any last questions you have for me?
Yes. What excites you the most coming to Ibiza?
It's really to be able to share that message. I know that it will transform people's lives. And like I mentioned to you, I carry my home with me wherever I'm at. So I want to give that to everyone else so that they have the power of a baseline of things that and tools that they can have with themselves to carry around the world with them on their journeys, to be able to help them to make that quantum leap. And there's never been a workshop that I've done or a talk or a presentation that I've done before ever where someone, and many, usually almost everybody who listens comes up to me afterwards and says, I never heard that before. You blow me away. I never thought of that before. You've touched my heart. You've unlocked my soul. You've given me the tools. And it's not about me. It's about the content, because the content is, I didn't create it. It's always been there. It's been around for 3.8 billion years. And I've been on the same discovery journey, and I just cannot not share it with everybody. That's my mission. My mission is really to create the conditions that are conducive for life to thrive and flourish amid ever-changing life conditions, to make this world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible time through spontaneous cooperation without the ecological offense or disadvantage of anyone, and to empower all 8+ billion people of our earth to live an adaptive lifestyle of health and sustainability within the safe operating spaces of our planetary boundaries. And if I can even just reach one of those 8 billion people, that's enough to feed my soul. But I know that it's there and open for everybody. So, and the people you have aligned with, Zach Bush and Charles Eisenstein and the many others, are just singing the same song and really resonate with me. So I know we're aligned, and that's why I'm excited to just see you hear those inputs from others and be able to share a few things that maybe not everybody's heard about or knows, because they're not taught in schools. I haven't been to many schools that teach a lot of these things. And so it's finally a good place. There's no one book that has all of these things in them where you could read, or no one school. So it's good to get them all in one place and to kind of realize how beautiful it is. And that's really what I'm looking forward to.
You said it all, Marc. See you in Ibiza.
Thank you so much. And you take
Thank you.
care, Canay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.